Hello and welcome to episode number 10 of the Worlds Adrift Dev podcast from Bossa Studios. My name is Malford and I am a host for this episode. I have co-hosts with me here. I have Mosta.
Hello.
And I have Julia.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Things are going well. We released 28, right?
To the PTS,
27. 28's on the PTS.
Yeah.
27 is live.
Yeah.
People seem to really like it.
And by the time that this is going to be out, 28 should be out too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's pretty cool.
Halloweenies.
Magic of Time Travel.
Right. Oh, yeah. What's in 28?
You tell me. You're the
is that
designer.
right?
You did it.
That's what we're going to talk about today.
It's your baby.
So yeah, things are going pretty well. I'm sorry, Julia. I kind of answered for the both of us. How are you feeling?
Fine. I'm great. I'm peachy. For once, I'm not coughing.
Hey.
That's fantastic.
Hey.
That's very good audio.
Oh, speaking of coughing, we had a really good stream last week.
Yeah.
Week
Nice
before.
segue.
An entirely in focus stream.
Yeah, that was a mess. The camera did
Topic
get out of
and
focus.
camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people seem to really like the technical talk that Sylvain gave. So ideally, we'll be doing more of that in the future.
He's a beautiful man.
Sylvain.
He is, yeah, and he's, he gave me a little kiss right at the end.
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
The
On the
last,
lips.
no, on the side of my head. But,
I mean, he is French, so
He
this
is,
is
yeah.
for all.
but also, it's his first podcast. Maybe as we continue forward, lips will
Yeah.
come into play.
I think that's what happens.
Lips will travel.
The more podcasts you do, the more Frenching you do.
Oh, not podcast, streams, right. When the world is watching.
Yeah. What
And
you guys don't know is that once the audio cuts out, me and Muster, it's
Just get it down.
just get it down. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Is this a family podcast?
I will personally send something awesome for whoever writes a fanfic about these two.
Great. That's what I want to see.
Or fan art. You know what? Better yet, fan art.
I'll quit my job.
And won't that be a gift? Oh, sorry.
You're like, so why did you leave your last job? Well, let me tell you about this fan art that
Let
we
me
got.
just show you, actually. Okay. Anyway, things are going well.
Sorry, I
And,
just
yeah.
remembered the art book of Seth Rogen and provocative poses.
I have not
you
seen that.
Yes,
No.
Google it at your own risk.
I will do so at work.
Do it. Say Julius told you to it.
I will. If they ask me about it, I'll definitely throw you under the bus.
Thank
So
you.
update 28 is coming, and do you want to tell us some about it?
Okay.
Alfred? Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a lot of it is bug fixes and performance improvements, which is great. So I understand that some people out there have noticed that there are one or two performance issues on 27.
Oh yeah, I saw that on every form of communication we have.
That's it, yeah. Every single possible. Yeah, I woke up in the morning and it was just painted on my wall.
Right.
In
In blood.
red.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah. So, yeah, there's been some issues with that stuff, which we are working on, have worked on. So 28 should have a bunch of improvements to that stuff.
Some, but not all.
Yeah, there's more coming.
not all.
More down the line.
I think it's going to be noticeable, though. I mean, we have definitely heard the feedback from people being very upset about the state of the
You sure you don't
performance.
want some more feedback
No, I
on
really, I do want more feedback because I want to keep hearing from our community, but I don't want people to think that we don't care. And hopefully they see, like, we worked as quickly as we possibly could after 27 to address some of these issues. What was weird, really weird, is that we weren't seeing almost any of this stuff in the studio. And we weren't even seeing a lot of it on the PTS. So something must have happened.
Well, we've learned some lessons about how to test around this stuff to do with, because obviously there are certain things that, being in Britain, we see differently to people who are in other parts of the world. Even though the servers are in America, there are still we have very generally high-speed internet here in the office, so we have to sort of manually throttle things to test low speeds and latency and that kind of thing. So we've been putting some work into improving how we're able to test that kind of stuff.
On the flip side, we didn't have something that was running fast enough to catch some of the issues recently.
That's right, yeah. We've been learning about some beefy computers.
I think the people within the community know a fella named Atrites who kept telling us that his frame rate was terrible, and it turned out that his PC was way too strong. Compared to our PCs in the office, we've got one compared to that. So yeah, that was a little awkward.
So we're going to take a look at upgrading some of our equipment, realizing now that we didn't really think having too good equipment could be an issue, but now we realize it could be.
Yeah, we try to have quite a sort of even spread of different equipment types in QA. So there's a range from really quite low end to some reasonably high end machines there. But yeah, I mean, we've never tried to have the sort of most ball to the wall rig for QA, because usually that things run best on those sorts of machines. So what we'll do is we'll get two 2080s. We'll sling them in there. A couple of i9s. Yeah, it's got 2 processors. Why not?
Yeah. It's a very CPU heavy game.
300 gigabytes of RAM. I mean, and maybe like a power supply that runs off of I don't know,
souls.
Okay, so yes, I have to pour souls into it. Yeah, so if you want to send us your souls, we'll use those to power our new sweet gaming rig.
We also we were going to water cool it, but we just figured, forget it. Let's just throw it in a pool.
Yeah,
and that way it's all water.
Well, it could be one of those ones that's in a fish tank.
Speaking of water,
yeah, the mineral oil ones.
Yeah, I love those.
Linus Tech Tips did a build with that.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. That stuff's really cool. So unnecessary, but really cool.
That is so terrifying.
Well, think about it. Think about the benchmarks, the sweet benchmarks you could get off that.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want to sit on a bench if it was under all that mineral oil.
Can you imagine getting a crack, all that oil going everywhere?
Yeah, that's why I'm not doing that. Yeah, that's the whole.
But then also consider this, right? On the flip side, right? Say I'm, downstairs, I'm frying up some steaks, right?
Yeah.
And I just realised that I'm out of oil.
Oh crap!
So what am I going to do?
I don't know. If only you had a vat of it somewhere.
I could go straight up to my sweet gaming rig, skim off some oil that's definitely still fine to eat, splash it on the pan.
I don't.
Fry some steaks.
That is a benefit.
That's the biggest benefit.
That might be the only benefit. I don't even think you get that much of a quality boost. Hey, you know what? Let's get back to topic. So
I'm dying.
we got a lot of stuff to talk about, right?
Yes. Speaking of terrifying concepts, Halloween is around the corner.
Oh, that's right. Happy Halloween.
Spooky stuff.
When I came out to England, I didn't realize that people outside of America really celebrate Halloween.
Yeah, not in the same way you guys do.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Not as madly.
That's probably for the best, to be honest.
My Italian nonna used to get very annoyed at Halloween, though.
You're Italian nun?
Nonna.
Is that grandma?
I mean, it's grandma. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah. She used to get. She was absolutely fuming about it, 'cause she was like, "It's a religious festival, right? Shouldn't be about costumes and ghosts and all this pagan stuff." She got very upset about it all the time.
What else is it?
Well, it's a festival that celebrates the people who have died and are in the next life.
Oh, like Day of the Dead style.
Yeah.
In Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah, which is another sort of compromised religious festival.
Right,
Yeah. Which has sort of been
cool.
Compromised?
Compromised, yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, well,
it's fine.
I mean, there are people out there who celebrate it, and it's sort of folklorish thing that's become.
Isn't it? Well, I wouldn't say it's compromised. It's actually two religions have evolved into one.
Oh, and when I
being
say compromise,
Catholic.
what I mean is like there's a lot of sort of
Capitalistic overtones.
There was a push from the Mexican government to put more emphasis on it and to publicize it more, to make it more of a tourist thing.
Is that why Coco happened?
That
Pixar
must
movie?
be. I think it's been going on for a
Dude,
while.
that is so good.
I think that's probably why Grim Fandango
really wanna
happens.
see
To be honest.
that.
Grim Fandango? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
Sugar skulls.
It is a great game. And you know what? I got all of that information from a podcast with Tim Schafer from 4 years ago that I was listening to this morning.
There you
That's
go.
awesome.
There you go.
Full circle.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
He's actually the reason I got into video games.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at a different podcast.
Okay.
Let's talk about the lag real quick. That sound okay?
Yeah?
Yeah.
You want to tell me
lagging.
about the lag?
I sort of already said it. We are hearing you guys. I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but I'm sorry that you guys are having to deal with this.
Excuse me, did you personally code the lag into the game?
I just added 500 milliseconds of latency to
It was a weird
everybody's
choice, to be honest.
thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes in design, you just try stuff out, see if it works.
That's true, yeah.
No, that's for
That's
you
not
about
what
to
happens.
for you about to raid YouTube with upset comments. That's not what happened. We made a mistake in not testing it in all the ways that we could have, I guess, and released something that we needed to double back on and fix, and we've now done so. Unfortunately, it coincided with our big push to get new players into the game. So I think a lot of people who tried it out for the first time got into the game and were like, well, "This just isn't ready to play yet." And on the, one of the nice things that's come out of this is we've seen, even in the negative reviews that we've received, we've seen a lot of people saying this is a really cool idea for a game. I really like what's going on here, but you know, it doesn't run right now on my PC, that sort of thing. But it's nice to have that people clearly see the vision. They clearly see that it's worth playing.
Yeah.
We want to make it.
They were very, like, a lot of the negative reviews were quite positive, and the positive reviews were like
quite negative.
not quite negative.
So what
but
you're
like
saying is the
also
reviews were
despite-
mixed.
No, it's like, but both types of reviews were always like, it's an awesome concept, love it to bits. For some people, it would run smoother, and both types of reviews would acknowledge, okay, there's lag right now, or.
Right.
And as we discussed on the stream last week, we've broken down the different types of lag. And
Oh yeah, that's right. Did we do a write-up about that?
yes, we did.
Yeah, cool.
And it was published in the Tech Tuesday,
Awesome.
which is today, incidentally.
So-
I'm talking about
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be really helpful for people trying to continue to report different lag things, right? Because they're going to be able to figure out
Yeah,
what
'cause everyone's
words
been-
we need to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody's been using lag as an umbrella term, and
Right.
that kind of doesn't really help us in a in forms of a complaint. It's like, well, it's laggy. How? What exactly are you seeing? Because
Yeah, it helps us to pinpoint
Yeah.
where to actually be looking for the issues, because there's so many things that can cause the thing that appears to be lag. The thing that it resembles in every way lag that you would expect come from one source might come from a different source.
So, like, a couple of the examples that Sylvain gave on the stream were so chests not being, or like inventory taking a few seconds to respond is one type of lag. Stuttering within the world is another type of lag, and AK or latency. And then client side lag is anything your character is experiencing directly. So when your screen, your view isn't turning right. And they all have solutions, but they're all different solutions, and we need to implement all those solutions and investigate them separately. So, but yeah, more about that in the blog post, or you can rewatch the stream, which is hella informative. We also discuss NPCs and different creatures and how that works. Because Sylvain is actually from his background as NPC design for what? Splinter Cell, was it?
Yeah, and a couple other things too.
Yeah, I worked on some really cool. He also worked on Black, which is a bit not the most well-known title, but one of the most well-respected titles.
Dude, that was such a good shooter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the most sort of solid, especially for the time. It's the most sort of solid, like tight feeling shooter that had ever been, I think.
I wonder why there wasn't a sequel.
I don't know.
Maybe
We could ask him.
Yeah,
Because
we
he
should.
left.
That's it. It's all on his shoulders.
Maybe we should throw a link to the stream underneath the podcast here
definitely.
in the
Yeah.
description. Great.
Now, we briefly touched on Halloween, but we didn't actually say anything about what we're doing with Halloween.
What
Right, yeah.
spooky
We just started-
things are we doing?
There's just a tangent about the religious implications. Halloween dealing with
Sorry, I got a little off
What are
track.
you dressing up as, first and foremost?
Well, I'm trying to go as Waluigi, but like I have
What?
mentioned, I don't have my costume yet. But
Why not Luigi?
because I am tall and gangly and evil. Next question.
I don't know. You're currently in a green shirt,
That's
so
true.
you can more of a Luigi.
That's true.
Well, you know what? I think that there's probably more to Luigi than the colour shirt he wears.
He's dead. Full canon. Like you guys saw the
Yeah,
Smash
yeah.
Bros.
We
trailer, right?
had a moment of silence for him on
Yeah.
the previous podcast.
That's right.
And yourself, Malford.
Well, I'm currently homeless, so I don't have any costumes. But
So a homeless bum is your thing then?
I was thinking of coming as a skeleton, but then I was like, oh wait, I have nowhere to put anything, so I'll just.
This is awkward. I'm sorry I brought this up.
It's all right. It's all right. I've got places to sleep. I just don't technically live in any of them.
If you want to be a skeleton, I could help you.
Still the skeleton outfit. No, I'll be all right. I just won't come as anything this year.
Okay.
Okay, this is really awkward. I if you need a place to
He's
crash.
not.
Cool. It's all good.
Just to be clear, he's not living on the
Not
street.
on the street. Yeah, it's fine. I just don't have a.
What happened was he was going to do this whole thing with getting a new home,
Yeah.
and then a deal fell through, and now
Yeah.
he's picking up the pieces.
Yay,
I just don't want
London.
people to think that we're not paying our designers enough.
Yeah, there's not. I don't have enough money. No, I have enough money to buy a flat actually to buy one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah? And so I'm trying to do that, and they just won't let me.
I mean, that's London property for you.
Well, if there's one thing that the people at home should take away from this, it's that the law that we have for buying properties in this country is a mess. So. Yeah, basically. What happened was the seller wanted to sell it to me. I wanted to buy it. But there's a guy who owns the walls called a freeholder. And he didn't want to do anything about it. And he'd written some bad paperwork. So it was a bad idea to buy it.
Jeez. But yeah, so Halloween is going to be is going to introduce a couple new things. It's one of our it's a seasonal update. It's not meant to add in any huge new features, but one of the coolest things going into it is we've added a new recipe for cooking called the Witch's Brew, which you can craft out of. Let's see if I can remember. I think it's Birkoi spices. Conductive tissue, neural something, brains.
Some sort of brain thing.
Some sort of brains.
Brain
and worms.
Cool.
I shouldn't have done this because now I can't remember what it actually is. Pumpkin, maybe, too? I don't remember.
So pumpkin spice latte.
It's pumpkins. So it makes sense.
So we're adding pumpkins in, and we're adding the jack-o'-lantern, which is a new ship part where you can... It's essentially like a lamp, but it's shaped like a jack-o'-lantern. Yeah. Also, side note, we tested this out at the studio. If you attach Atlas lifters to the jack-o'-lanterns, it's the spookiest thing in the entire game. So
just
consider doing that.
Flood the caves with them.
Yeah, make the game lag even worse. That sounds good. The cool thing, though, is I think one of the cool things is the Witch's Brew, which if you craft it and drink it, it changes some of the sound effects in the game for the duration of the buff. So it lasts for about 6 minutes. And I don't really want to say too much.
Good.
But hopefully people
it's a
find it
6 minute spooktacular.
And I hope people find it cool because really what it was is for us is a test to see if we can do things like that where we dynamically change some of the audio based on buffs and other things, and it worked.
That's really cool that you mentioned that because I'm pretty sure that there will be someone out there who's like, but why are you fixing the thing? It's like it's a seasonal little feature, but it's also a learning curve for us of like what we can or cannot do with certain features.
Right. Also,
for the future.
We are including a ton of fixes in this update. Halloween,
and even more so for 29.
Yeah, but for 28, we have all the Halloween stuff plus all these fixes. So
the fixes were the main focus. The stuff that we've done in terms of the items, they're all reasonably quick and simple to do.
Yeah.
So you've been working hard on it, but it hasn't taken up a huge amount of code resource away from the optimizations.
Our audio guy wasn't going to be doing a lot of fixing for optimizations, so we had a free resource to.
Yeah. I mean, we tried to get him to do it, but you know what? It didn't work out.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Ali, for putting up with us.
Speaking of Ali, just yesterday I was with Ali doing some recording for our Marauder guitar. I'm not going to say too much, but I'm going to say that it absolutely rips. So
it rocks super hard.
It's going to sound good. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So when players play it in the game, are they going to hear your handiwork?
Yes, they will. Yeah, they'll hear my power chords.
Yeah, sick.
Loud power chords.
LLPs.
Yeah, and you know what? The guitar you're going to hear is either going to be the Epiphone Nighthawk with a custom hand-wound bridge pickup, or it's going to be a 1979 Yamaha Superflighter 1000.
Wow. That's not a Fender Stratocaster.
No, it's not. It's a Yamaha Superflighter 1000.
Superflighter? It's as if this game is about flying.
Almost, yeah.
It sounds like Harry Potter's first broomstick.
It does, doesn't it?
But no, in fact,
was it Thunderbolt? Yeah.
In fact, it's a rad as hell guitar that's older than me.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Ali's got it down in his studio.
That's mine.
Oh,
well, it's my fiance's.
You own it, but it's older than you?
Yeah, I didn't buy it new.
I see.
You can't do that.
Figured out what's going on here.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's what's going on for Halloween and for the Marauder guitar.
Is there anything else going in for Halloween?
There's a couple other things. Yeah. I mean, the pumpkins, the jack-o'-lantern. We're adding another new food recipe that allows you to. It's called pumpkin curry, and it allows you to run faster and jump higher. It's the first buff that we're putting into the game that has a dual effect.
Double buff.
It's actually totally OP.
Okay.
But it's a Halloween only thing. So something to mention with this update is we're at a certain point we're gonna shut off the Halloween items. So those of you
the seasonal.
Right, that's the word I was looking for. So those who can gather them now, fantastic. If you get a schematic for a Halloween item, it will stay with you after we shut them off from the loot tables going forward. But at a certain point, you won't be able to loot them anymore.
Yeah. So hoard those pumpkins if you can.
Well, also use them.
Well, think about this, right? You make a jack-o'-lantern, right? Somebody damages your jack-o'-lantern. You need pumpkin to repair it.
Is that...
So there's going to be a black market for pumpkins. I don't want to maintain their jack-o'-lanterns.
I don't think that's...
That is how it works.
Have you tried that?
It's Herb was saying, yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oy.
I think that's beautiful. I just like to imagine this. I mean, I just like to imagine this thing where you have like this sort of, you extract pumpkin from this thing and then you're like injecting it into this battered one to try and replenish it.
Go back to your home, pumpkin.
Yeah. This is where you belong.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's some of the cool stuff that's going. There's also a new clothing item called the Horns of Olk.
It's creepy as heck.
It is creepy as Olk.
It does look like you're about to sacrifice a human.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to see is people hiding in dark places wearing this mask, waiting for people.
Yeah. The eyes. Well, I don't want to say too much, but check it out. Yeah, the eyes. Check it out in game. See if you can find the schematic will drop as well as the actual item itself. But if you get the schematic, that means you can dye the cloth that is associated with it. And which is a great segue into saying that there's also a new dye color. Pumpkin orange. Woo! And that'll be found in loot ruins, loot chests, and loot containers for a limited time only. And then after the Halloween update, I think we'll just take out the orange.
It's a finite resource.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I should probably say just talked about the Marauder guitar. That's not coming in for 28.
Right. It's just dope.
It's just cool as hell. And I'm excited about it. Just don't want people to get there.
It's what you've been working on.
Yeah.
So.
Don't want people to get excited about it for next update.
Soon TM.
We don't have any animations for it yet.
But that's okay because one of the discussion points is 28 and 29. What are the things that are ready or not ready? What are the things that are going into 29? Because we're still kind of working with that.
Yeah.
We're not feature locked yet.
No.
And won't be for a while. So there's stuff that can still go in.
Well, we just today finalized a list of all the features that we're putting in for 29. I don't think we should say them.
No, I mean, because the thing is, it's a list of all the things we're going to try and get in for 29.
Right.
Some of them are quite big, some of them are small. So it's safe to say that some of the smaller stuff will get in, but it's hard to, to know exactly what we're going to get done. But basically, we've just laid down this list and we're just going to get as much of it done as we can.
Right. We have 3 weeks. So we're going to do as much as we can in 3 weeks. And then we're going to have to feature lock and RC it and test the hell out of it. So do as much as we can, try to add some cool new stuff. And we've got a pretty good plan. But yeah, we can't share specifics of it quite yet.
Aww.
I can tell you that players are going to be thrilled. And I can also tell
I'm
you
wondering if is that a hint? They're going to be thrilled? Whoa, what?
Yeah, we're putting Michael Jackson's Thriller into the game.
Oh, that would have been good for Halloween.
Oh, we could have done that as a dance.
Yes.
No, we haven't done that.
I wonder if that's patented, the dance. Or trademarked, I mean.
Not if you rename it.
There's one other thing that I should mention. There will not be a wipe for 29.
Yay.
As far as we're aware right now, there's no reason to do so.
Yep.
So we will not be wiping anytime soon.
Do you hear that? That's the crowds cheering.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Hopefully. Yeah, so that's what's coming up for 29.
Yep. I'm working on some cool stuff for that and some medium stuff for that. So excited to get all that stuff to you guys. Yeah. I tell you what, actually, there's one thing that could be useful for you guys for something I'm working on at the moment. If you guys have any titles of books that you really like, just like anything at all,
leave them in the comments.
Leave them in the comments or even tweet them at me. My Twitter handle will be in the comments.
I know one that I like. Vic Viper, our ex-mod, and a couple of other community members are big fans of.
Yeah, what's that?
The Stormlight series.
The Stormlight series.
It's very apt for Worlds Adrift, actually.
Okay, yeah, just because I'm doing some stuff that requires sort of a bunch of semi-generic book titles. So I'm not going to be more specific than that, but just sort of if there's any crowdsourcing I could get for
Ender's Game.
Ender's Game. Cool. Okay, we got it, guys. Don't worry. No need to comment. No.
Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Awesome. That is pretty thrilling already.
Very thrilling. Yeah. So shall we move on to some questions from the community?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So the first one here is from Negative Ions. It says, "What about doors? Where are the doors that we were shown in the Marauders cartoon?"
Winky face.
And then a winky face.
And a winky
afterwards.
face. You guys, folks at home can't see it, but we're all winking right now.
It hurts.
Repeatedly. I don't know
Looks
if
like
you can
you've got a nervous
hear that.
tick.
Maybe you can't, but I'm winking at the microphone. Anyway,
Not.
so this is, we want to add doors to the game for sure. But yeah, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't have put that in the trailer. No, maybe that's the thing people got most excited about this. Maybe we need to prioritize doors a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't know why they focused on that, but
It's like maybe walls first.
there is
Because there's no interior
Wouldn't that
walls,
be
are there?
weird?
So
or destructible ship frames or
Windows.
performance or window, literally anything.
there's so many things in that trailer. But
Territory control.
But immediately, I was there during the stream, and people were immediately going bananas for doors. So.
Yeah, they saw. It's not just the doors, the trap doors, like the door. that
Listen to your community,
Yeah,
guys.
so there's actually some interesting. There's a piece of lore that's going to go in
Is it about doors?
that it's not about doors, but it is about. It does have some
Windows.
traps in it, so I wonder if maybe we can get some of the traps that are in that lore and see if we can figure out a way of implementing some of them at some point. I think that would be exciting. But no, there's it's very interesting, that isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just like the things that people want. You can't necessarily predict.
Water and doors.
Water and doors, yeah.
There's a really good article about implementing doors and using doors as a.
Is this by Liz England?
Is it? I don't remember who it's by.
Theory of Doors. We've done a video
Theory
on
of
this
Doors?
in the past. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We should link to that as well.
Yeah, all right.
We remember.
It's a fascinating piece. There's one that uses doors to describe every game developer's title and job role.
That's the one.
That's the one. And then there's another one that talks about why doors are so complicated, which isn't to say we won't do them, but it's kind of a hilarious piece to think of. Like, it's just a door. It opens and closes. Why is that so hard?
Yeah.
I mean, don't we have island doors? I suppose it would be. Everything is 50 times more difficult on a floating ship.
Yeah.
And there's my answer.
I suppose the doors that we have on islands there's no interaction with them necessarily. They just open when people are near them. So it's easier to do something like that than it is to do something you have to interact with.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the answer to your question, Negative Ions. They're coming.
Cool.
Possibly.
There's quite a long one next.
Jinsei initially thanks us for answering his previous question on the previous podcast. And Malford, you're a great reader. Can you do this?
The whole thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's another question for you. What are your thoughts on balancing ship speed, weight, and armor? Are there any plans for this? What I mean is, some have suggested in the feedback forum that a small ship with a few good engines should be faster than a heavy 20-engine monstrosity. There isn't much of a benefit currently to building big, heavily armored ships because there isn't much to gain in protection, and it's not worth sacrificing all the speed. There also isn't much of a cost to loading up tons of engines on nothing but a large frame, thanks in large part to indestructible frames. This is some of the reason why medium-sized box ships with minimum amount of paneling and a massive amount of engines is the current method for PvP. It wins on all fronts: protection, maneuverability, speed, and firepower. One of the ideas I saw involved giving panels a boost in resilience for every other panel placed next to it, thus making a ship's armor more interconnected. Once destructible frames are implemented, destructible flames would be excellent, but that's not what he's asking. Destructible frames are implemented. This could also be incorporated and have a very big play on this too. More panels equals a bigger boost to frame resilience. Credit goes to @LWhoops, the idea for scaling ship size and armor.
Yeah. I took a look at this question before the podcast started, and I was thinking about it for a little bit. And I don't think that the interconnected panels actually goes that far of a way of balancing speed, weight, and armor. It is a nice way to increase armor and is an interesting interaction, but I don't think it will actually prevent players from continuing along the path that they're on of still trying to make the fastest ship possible. And because of how we calculate speed, which is all physics-based, the more thrust you're producing, the more speed you can get out of something that's similar weight to something that has less engines. It's just how it is right now. How we're planning on balancing that in sort of a a more roundabout way is with parts of overheat. So if you have a ton of engines, and they can't all be burning fast all the time, you'll have to manage your heat, and therefore even the fastest ships will have to slow down and figure out how to best manage their heat. And then after that is proximity heat, which is if you have a bunch of engines on your ship and they're all so close to each other that they are radiating heat to each other, they're going to heat up faster than engines that are further apart. And that on its own, I think, is going to change the ship meta in a big way. The armor and the resilience and the panels and that not being a big boost and not feeling like there's a reason to build super heavy ships, I think there's two things there. Number one is sort of player preference. I know that there are players who do play with big ships. It's the players who want to min-max, all of the speed that they could possibly get and all the resilience and all that stuff that choose to go the mid-range box routes. But there are definitely players who maybe they have a big crew and they want everybody to have a role and they want to be able to fit a lot of booty in it. They get a really big ship, and I don't know why I said it like that.
I don't know.
They get a really big ship and they use that to fight, and it's not that it doesn't work, it's just a bigger target. So the other thing that leads me into number two is that a smaller ship is harder to hit. So as we move forward with some of the ideas that we have for combat, which, to be honest, we haven't really talked that much about on the podcast, things like, I'm just going to throw an example out here. When it comes in, it'll be big, but I can't promise it'll come in any time particularly soon. But the idea of being able to put harpoons on your ship, connect to another ship and slow them down or drag them in, that would be a much easier process if they are a lighter ship. If they are, if they're a lighter ship, that means that you can drag them in a lot easier. So by having a heavier ship, you then inherently combat the harpoons. And so there's a lot of different factors that we can put into here to try and balance it out. It's definitely something that I, in particular, am trying to do, and the design team as a whole has been talking about. We're taking it one step at a time, and we are aware that everything that we change with ships sort of throws a big, anything we change throws a big spanner in the wrench, in the workings. Ooh, I can't talk. The big spanner into the workings of currently active players and people who have spent so much of their time trying to figure out how ships work and how engines are calculated and all that stuff. So we want to be delicate with it. We don't want to add everything in all at once. We want to go slowly. But it is something that we want to address. And the interlocked panel idea is interesting, but I don't actually think it'll go that far to finding that right balance. I hope that answers your question. And if you want to talk about it further, I'm on Discord, Moster. You can just write to me. And
we're all
we can
hanging
talk.
on general most of the time anyway.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to bore people who listen to this podcast and don't care about this. So I'll stop.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people do care about this.
Okay.
I'm interested enough on Worlds Adrift to listen to the dev podcast every week. I'm not interested enough to hear someone talk about the game.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm here for the talk about
maybe you're here for the bands.
Fair enough. Well, regardless, if they do want to continue talking to me about it directly, we can share some more specific ideas on Discord. Come find me, or on Twitter. Come find me there too. But it is something we want to address.
Yeah. Okay. I think that just about covers it for this week. You guys think of anything else to say?
I could talk all day about stupid stuff, but
no.
Yeah, all right.
NPCs.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. If you do have an interest, like a hardcore interest in the game, and you want to understand more about either why the lag is such a problem or why it's difficult for us to address some of the issues quickly, the podcast that we did, just once again, the podcast that we did a couple weeks ago with Sylvan is incredibly informative. Not podcast, stream. Thank you. The stream we did with Sylvan is incredibly informative and helpful in explaining some of that stuff.
And it covers, I know that there will be a follow-up question to the PvP ships. And it's like, what about PvE elements? And we talk a lot about that on the stream as well. And it's not a gameplay stream. You don't really need to watch it. You can have it playing in the background. And it's very, very informative as to why certain things take long, or what we are planning on doing, or certain solutions for future animals and creatures in the game, and ships and so on and so forth. So yeah, do definitely check that out. And I think that's about it for today.
All right then.
Ooh.
Shall we sign off then?
Yeah, let's.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for listening to episode 10 of the Worlds Adrift podcast. It means a lot to us that you're here listening to our voices all right the way to the end. So if you did enjoy this, please give us a rating on wherever you listen to your podcasts.
If it accepts ratings.
Yes, we do accept ratings. We accept them gladly. And you can also get in touch with us at worldsadrift.com/. Wait, no, just worldsadrift.com.
Facebook.com.
Yeah, facebook.com/worldsadrift. I'm trying to do this without reading it, which was foolish, it turns out. So here we go. Let's look at it again. Worldsadrift.com. There's forums on there you can go to. They're very good. That wasn't written down. On facebook.com/worldsadrift. On Twitter @worldsadrift. We're also on Discord and all sorts of places, really. So please get in touch and tell us what you think.
Yes.
Yeah. The last thing I would add to that is if you are enjoying the game at all, not at all. If you're enjoying the game enough,
a bit.
Yeah, sorry. If you're enjoying the game enough that you want to tell people about it, jump onto Steam and throw us a positive review because that is incredibly beneficial to us and would mean a lot.
Yeah, and if you hate the game,
stay away.
please don't.
No. Be honest in your reviews,
I'm
and we're
just gonna be
hoping
honest.
that you enjoyed the game.
Be very positive.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
That's all.
No, I'm lying. Anyway, so thanks for listening. You can find our Twitter handles in the description. So with that, I have been Malford.
And I'm Matt or Moster.
And I'm Julia.
Cool. All right. Bye, guys. I love you. Bye.
Bye.